There are stories that we think we've already heard. Stories of love, distance, misunderstandings, and heartbreak. But then, one moment, one phrase, one unexpected truth, reopens everything. And sometimes, it brings even the strongest among us to tears. This is one of those stories. When Can Yaman heard what Demet Özdemir said, something shifted. A silence that had lasted for years was broken, not with anger or regret, but with honesty, raw, painful, and powerful. And in that moment, caught off guard by the weight of her words, Can's eyes filled with tears. But to truly understand that moment, we have to go back. Back to where it all began. Years ago, when Erkenci Kush, known internationally as Daydreamer, first aired, no one could have predicted the phenomenon it would become, nor the magnetic chemistry between its two leads, Demet Özdemir and Can Yaman. Their on-screen love was electric. The way they looked at each other, laughed, fought, and eventually embraced, it felt real. Too real. And that's because, behind the scenes, something was real. A connection that went far beyond scripted kisses and rehearsed scenes. They were young, passionate, riding the wave of sudden global fame, and they were falling for each other. But with fame comes pressure. Endless media coverage. Fan theories. Tabloid lies. And the fragile beginnings of a private love story were soon exposed to the harsh lights of public obsession. They never officially confirmed a relationship. They didn't need to. Every glance said it all. Until, one day, it was over. For years, fans speculated. Did they break up? Were they still in touch? Did something happen behind the scenes? But Demet and Can remained silent. They focused on their careers. He moved to Italy, she starred in new dramas. Interviews came and went, but neither said much, if anything, about the other. And that silence became its own kind of story. People assumed they had become strangers. That maybe there was pain. Maybe even resentment. But what if the silence was never about hate? What if it was about protecting something that once meant everything? Fast forward to today. Demet Özdemir gave an interview. At first, it was like any other, elegant, poised, professional. But then, toward the end, the interviewer gently asked her about a past co-star, one with whom the public had always imagined a deeper bond. She hesitated. Took a breath. And then, she spoke. There are people who pass through your life, and even if time takes you in different directions, their presence never really leaves you. We shared something powerful. He knows that. I know that. And I will always be grateful. I'll say this, I never stopped wishing him peace and happiness. Not for a single day. It wasn't just what she said. It was how she said it, her voice trembling, her eyes looking down, as if revisiting memories long buried. The clip went viral in hours. And across the Mediterranean, in Rome, a man watched it. Can Yaman. He didn't expect to hear her voice saying those things. He didn't expect her to go there, not after all this time. But she did. And when he heard her words, simple, tender, and honest, his eyes filled with tears. His assistant, who happened to be in the room, later described the moment. He didn't say much. He just sat there, very still. Then he whispered something like, she remembered, and I could see he was holding back so much. It wasn't just emotion, it was years of silence collapsing in a few seconds. Later that evening, Can Yaman posted a single story on Instagram. No caption. Just a quiet sunset over the sea. The fans knew. When love is left unfinished, it never really goes away. It lingers. Especially when both hearts are still beating in rhythm, just apart. Demet and Can were more than co-stars. They were, at one point, two souls who found comfort in each other in a world that was watching too closely. But perhaps that world was too much. They didn't get to be normal. They didn't get to fight in private, cry in private, make mistakes without headlines. Their breakup, if we can even call it that, was silent, not scandalous. No betrayal. No screaming interviews. Just silence. Which, in many ways, is even more heartbreaking. For years, fans around the world, from Turkey to Italy, Spain to Brazil, held on to the hope that someday, somehow, they'd find each other again. That the love they once showed would return. That hope was never about gossip. It was about something real, the kind of connection you only see once in a generation of television. So when Demet spoke, and when Can cried, it wasn't just about a reunion. It was about truth finally breaking through. Will they talk again? Did he call her after the interview? Are they ready to reconnect, even just as friends? No one knows for sure. And maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point is that he heard her. That she reached him across the distance, with nothing but words, soft, honest, and long overdue. And maybe, that was enough. Because not all love stories end. Some just evolve. Some grow quietly in the background of life, waiting for a moment, a look, a sentence, to remind us that what we felt was real. Demet Özdemir has always carried herself with grace. Through fame, criticism, heartbreak, and success, she never lashed out, never exposed private moments for attention. And yet, when the time was right, she spoke with honesty that echoed across continents. That kind of strength is rare. She didn't speak to reopen old wounds. She spoke to honor the truth. A truth she and Can shared once, in the quiet spaces between scripts, behind the cameras, in the laughter that wasn't written by any screenwriter. To everyone listening to this story, whether you've loved and lost, or still carry a memory that makes you pause when you hear a name, know this. Feelings don't always fade. Some stay, not to haunt you, but to remind you that what you felt was real. And that's what Can Yaman was reminded of that day. When he heard Demet's words, her voice soft with nostalgia and honesty, he didn't just remember. He felt. And for a moment, even the strongest man couldn't hold back the tears. To their fans, this moment is not just a spark from the past, it's a reason to believe again. Believe in love. In timing. In reconnection. Believe that sometimes, even after years of silence, the heart still hears what it needs to hear. Thank you for watching this story, a story of love, silence, courage, and memory. A story that reminds us all that even when words are left unspoken, the heart still remembers. If this touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more true stories behind the stars, stories that go beyond the headlines and reveal the emotions that truly matter. Because behind every public image is a private truth. One that's often hidden behind smiles, stage lights, and carefully chosen words. But when that truth finally surfaces, it carries the weight of everything that's been held back. And sometimes, that truth brings even the strongest to tears. Not out of weakness, but because feeling deeply is the most human thing of all. Until next time, keep believing in love, in timing, and in the quiet power of honesty. Because some stories, no matter how long they've been buried, still deserve to be heard.